next up, we've the finale of the morning, and we have our wonderful Emma McDonald, who's been by our side for the last year in assisting us with all the data collection and working with our programme boards and our students and gaining insights into their assessment experiences. And it's certainly setting us up for expansion of this whole project of reimagining assessment and feedback for student success with the ATU. So it's great. And Emma officially today starts her Masters in Education in ATU. It's today, isn't it? Or yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah. So, and it's building on all of this, and it's going to be a bigger project. And delighted to be supervising you along with Dr. Mary McGrath and Kevin Cunningham, who's here with us as well. So thanks very much, Emma, and we'll hand over to you. Do you have your thing? Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks a million, Karina. So thanks a million for everyone coming here as well. I'll keep it quite short, I'm sure plenty of you are hungry. So just a quick bit about the Reimagined Assessment and Feedback project. So it was supported by the National Forum for the Enhancement of Teaching and Learning under the SATL funding, and it was co-led by the Heads of Teaching and Learning in ATU. So Dr. Karina Ginty from Galway Mayo, Dr. Deirdre McClay from Letterkenny, and Dr. Niamh Plunkett and Gavin Clinch from Sligo. So far in the project, we worked in collaboration with 3 programs. So you've probably heard about a lot about them today, about the different assessments. So there was the BA in Law and Criminal Justice in Letterkenny, the BA in Sociology and Politics in Sligo, and the BSc in Medical Science in Galway, Mayo. So just a quick, the project team, so you've met most of them today. So Dr. Mary McGrath and Dr. Eleanor Rainsford from Galway, Galway Mayo, Dr. Susan McDonald and Dr. Maura Hanafi from Sligo, and Dr. Brona Hevern from ATU Donegal. And I think it's important to mention here as well, I don't have it on the slides, but we also had student representatives from each of the programs who were very helpful, and they were great. We did a focus group with them recently, and they were just a really great help. So just a shout out to them as well. So just a quick overview of the research and the outputs. So the first thing we did was we conducted an audit and a review of the current assessment strategies in place on each of the programs. We did a survey of both the recent graduates and the current undergraduate students. We did a focus group session with some of the students from each of the programs. We did a showcasing and networking event. We did 2 of those in Sligo. We did a series of assessment masterclass sessions. We developed a assessment resource directory, which went online today, and we did the symposium, which is today. So the end of it now. So I'll go through each of the processes really quickly. So the first thing was the audit and review process. So we worked with the program leads who gave us information and went back to academic staff on each of the programs. And we just got a great starting point of where assessment strategies are at the moment and what different practices are being used. So this was a really great way to just, set the scene and see where programs are at the minute. The next step then was the survey. So I'm going to go through a few of the details. So we did 2 surveys, the recent graduates and the current undergraduate students. And the questions were developed between the entire project team. So there was input from everybody. So there was a great list of both qualitative and quantitative questions. So in total with the 2 surveys, there was 103 responses, and this is made up of students from each of the programs. So when we asked them about their satisfaction with the range of different assessment types used, most of the students said they were satisfied with the range. So this is just 2 examples of what students said. So there's a range of assessment types allowed me to fully comprehend the depth of the module itself, and which is a useful indicator of where I am in my study progress. Those who indicated that they were not satisfied, the reasons were as follows. So there was a lot of final exams, would like to see more CAs that are research based. Some modules have more varieties than others, would like to see more grade weight on CA work. And work in the field of study is primarily research based, but exams are written closed book. So then this is just a small snapshot from the survey. So this just looks at the different assessment types and how well students felt that they assessed their learning. So just primarily a lot of them are in the very satisfied section, with the exception of the group-based assessment, practical assessments and presentations. So we asked then in the survey what student experience was with the timing of assessment. So the responses we got were in general about there being too many assessments around the same time, and that some of them felt that there should be more time given for certain tasks, that they could give time to have more in-depth understanding of the topic itself. Another point that was made there is be helpful to have a timetable for assessments. I know this is in one or two of the programs, or students mentioned in the focus group as well that they'd love to see just a clear outline in an Excel sheet where the assessments are, all put in at the start of the year, that they know exactly what's coming and when it's coming, and that it's kept up to date. But I know this is in place in some of the programs. Then quickly about the survey findings, so the benefits of receiving feedback on assessments. So the benefits that we got from the participants was that it helps to learn where you're going wrong and make changes, enhances learning, helps to understand the information, helps improve grades, and teaches people to take constructive criticism. On the opposite side then, we had asked to list some of the drawbacks of receiving assessment. So one of the answers that came up a few times was none, and as long as it's beneficial, honest and constructive. Some people said that it may knock your confidence if you don't receive it in good time, and that it might be something you don't want to hear. The same person said that some feedback may be taken to heart and may be discouraging. We then asked in relation to the timing of receiving feedback. So we'd given them, a week, 1 to 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. So the majority had said, as soon as possible or within a week, but it's not always possible to have it that fast, but as soon as possible was the main response. So the reason they gave for this was the sooner the feedback, the fresher it is in memory. It helps to correct the future mistakes, and the longer it takes to receive feedback, the less effective it becomes as their focus has moved on elsewhere. So we asked them to give some suggestions then in relation to how feedback could be improved. So one of the things they said was to incorporate more positive feedback in with the negative, that feedback is given within a quicker time frame, that there's consistency of feedback across the entire program, there's more in-depth feedback, class discussions on the most common mistakes, more one-to-one feedback, and more personalized feedback instead of generalized feedback. So then we asked them about their experience with authentic assessments. So just down the bottom of the screen, what we'd given them was authentic assessments are assessments that test your knowledge of a subject through realistic situations. So we gave them, this was an open box question for them to give, examples of the different types of assessments they'd encountered. So some of the most common ones that came up were the mock trials, which is something that's from the BA Law and Criminal Justice, debates, simulations and role play. This was across all 3 programs, and this came up quite often as well. Portfolio, practical lab-based assessment, work placement and case studies. We then went on to looking at the impact of COVID-19 on assessment and their experience with that. So I took a list here of the most common positive and negatives that came up within this. So the positives that students highlighted were that online assessments felt less stressful, that open book assessments allowed them to engage with materials while trying to think critically. Considering the circumstances, we were assessed fairly and thoroughly with great support from lecturers. A difficult yet a positive experience with pre-recorded lectures, briefs provided to help understand assessment details and requirements, and recorded lectures allowed them to go back over lectures in case they didn't understand it fully the first time. The negatives, on the other hand, were it was difficult, broadband difficulties. I'm sure we've all experienced that as well. Online lectures, harder to stay concentrated, that they felt detached and left alone with struggles to reach people often. And some people also said that it severely impacted their communication skills. So then we asked them, were there any benefits from the changes to assessment that they've seen that they could identify? So what they came back with here was that open book exams enhanced learning, more regular assessment meant that they learned smaller amounts of information and were assessed more frequently, more modules that CA based rather than final exams, online presentations were less stressful and more case studies. They felt that the case studies challenged them more as opposed to learning paragraphs of information off by heart. So we asked them then to give suggestions for how assessment and feedback could be improved overall within their program. So what they came back to us here was more focus on continuous assessment rather than exams, blended learning and assessment, more definitive scheduling and assessment, standby assessments created for situations such as COVID, more variety in assessment types used, and feedback, so improving the feedback system to make it quicker, more in-depth and less negative. Then we conducted a focus group, which was more recent, and we had 10 participants from across, and this included people from across 3 programs. This was a great opportunity to get chatting to them, get them to explain, their views from the survey and, the views of their classmates in more detail, and give them an opportunity to speak as well. So one of the main things we found from this was that students said that they felt more engaged in assessments that enabled them to put themselves into realistic and practical situations. So what was coming up for this more than anything was the different debates, simulations, role play, mock trials, and case studies as well was another massive one that came up here. Another point that was noted by nearly all the students was that they wanted consistency across feedback. I mentioned it before, and just that they felt sometimes there might be a breakdown in consistency, that they'd be getting feedback in one module and it wasn't really aligning with other modules, and they found that confusing. But in all, that wasn't a very big issue. I think that was it. Yeah. So then we did the showcasing event, which many of you were at, and for those who weren't, we held showcasing events in Sligo, and we had the program leads and different lecturers from the program, and also student representatives, and they were a great way to kind of network with each other. And the program leads shared different authentic assessments that were on their program, and it really just got us talking about assessment. And I think it's Debbie that was saying there that as a result of one of these showcasing events, she added something new into her assessment. So they were really a lot of fun as well. The masterclass series that we held, and Naomi was mentioning, and I think Trish was mentioning it there a few minutes ago. So our first one was with Kay Samble and Sally Brown. This second one then was with experiential learning with Rick Rowe, creating feedback opportunities with Ed Pitt, and then development of rubrics with Linda Suski. And I just have the link there. They're on the Digital Ed website. So this is what they look like on the website. So there's just the slides, the recordings, and any outputs from the sessions are available on the website if anybody that wants to have a look at them. So this is the 4 of them here. So the online resource guide then, which is officially launched today. So this is aimed to be kind of a one-stop shop for assessment. So I'll show you a little sign. So you can access it here at digitaled.ie/assessment. And this is what it'll look like. So this is the landing page here. And you'll have your assessment types, your assessment resources, and assessment tools. And then when you click into each of those, so the assessment types is an A to Z directory with all the different assessment types that can be used in a little exam or a little description of it. The assessment guides, these are guides that will help with assessment and feedback. So there's templates, exemplars, case studies, and they're all within this resource guide section. And these will also be added to in the future as well. So it'll be an area devoted to assessment that can be continuously updated. And then just the plan for the future. So reimagining assessment and feedback phase 2. So moving forward with another 3 programs and having a look at the assessment practices across those. Development of assessment tools. So there's a section on the website for assessment tools which hasn't been developed yet. So we're looking at making how-to guides and different ways of using assessment, and that'll all be housed within the assessment tools. And then, as Karina mentioned, I'll be starting my master's in education today. And I think that is the lot. Yeah, so it was very quick, but we got through it.
Thanks a million. Such amazing work, and I know you've had an interesting journey this year, meeting so many people, and we're looking to expand the programme. You might bring up the assessment directory guide again. I just want to highlight this, or I think it's the other page. So we were really delighted with launching this resource today. It's going live, and you'll hear more about it. This is an output from all the work that's taken place over the last year, auditing and reviewing all the assessment practices going on, not just across the ATU, but also across higher education in general. And it was fantastic to be able to put together a directory from A to Z. So literally when you, I don't know, that's not live now, that's...
No, I can bring it up live actually if you want.
Yeah, no, but even the next one shows the directory. So literally all those great examples of authentic assessment that was presented today, and a lot more as well. Colleagues can just click, it'll give you an explanation, there'll be tools to back it up. There's a section in there that's coming soon, but we're looking for input obviously from the programme board member teams that have taken part in the project this year, and we'll have further people joining the project over the next year or two. To input into the tools section of this, so we will be in touch with you on that. But for now, there's a fabulous directory there from A to Z, and particularly for new lecturers and people coming into the university who may not be familiar, or perhaps they're all new to teaching, learning and assessment. It'll be very, very useful, and also for our own colleagues. So just again, it broadens our mind as to what's available to us. So a great work by Emma in putting all this directory details and everything, and working with everybody and getting all those details together. So thanks a million, Emma. And I also want to thank another couple of people, just because we're finishing now. I want to thank Dr. Kevin Cunningham here, who's been amazing, supporting us with the whole transmission today of our session across the ATU. And I want to thank Jessica Duffy. I know she's outside, she's doing some moderation. Jessica is amazing support in teaching and learning. And also my colleagues and partners in teaching and learning in Sligo, Niamh Plunkett, Deirdre McClay in Donegal, and Gavin Clinch in Sligo as well. We're a great team, and it's, you know, working with all of you that makes everything happen and come to life in teaching and learning. So huge thank you to the programme board members who have presented today. And I've had to call out all the names, but you know who you are. And we really appreciate, because you've laid the foundation for this whole reimagining project, and it's going to grow across the ATU and the whole network of assessment leaders. So we're, yeah, Trish, you've got a question? Yeah.
Online viewers. Okay, my question is this, Karina. Given the fact that we use Moodle, and like, for example, the workshop tool that I use is a Moodle function, I'm wondering what the story is with Sligo, because I think they use Blackboard.
No, Sligo or Moodle.
Oh, they're Moodle.
Yeah.
So is it like anything is
Blackboard? Is Blackboard.
Okay, so are we talking about integrating so that we all have the same hymn sheet?
Yeah, so there is a plan into the future in the next couple of years where we'll come together and we will look at the VLE. At the moment, it is what it is. Now certainly Galway and Sligo would work in very close collaboration with the designers who they're a Moodle house as well. So there's lots of synergies there. And even at the moment, we're looking at the theme and how we can actually mirror the theme that's in Sligo, and Sligo to mirror the theme that's in Galway from the 1st of September. So you will see an update to our Moodle environment that'll mirror Sligo or vice versa. With the Blackboard environment in Donegal, again, that will have an HEU theme, of course, but I'd expect over the next couple of years, it is a big topic. We have to look at, are we going to go brand new? Or are we all going to go to Moodle? Are we all going to go to Blackboard? Everything's up for grabs. So it'll be another project. Just when you learn one, you got to do another. It'll be another project, and it involves the whole IT services team across the ATU as well to look into that. So watch this space. And obviously, we need the expertise of everyone who was involved in educating our students day to day to feed into that process. So it'll be a larger project. So anyway, so thanks. Did I thank everybody? So thanks very much for today. There's lovely lunch and some soup outside for those that are here, and for those that are online, And it was lovely to have you with us today, and all copies of today's sessions, we're going to have them up on the site. We'll have little recordings of each, so people will be able to pop in and see the outputs. So thanks a million, Emma. Thank you. So